On in, having a connection problem here, but hopefully this will stay on long enough for me to hop in and get this information to you. Hop on in, let me know who you are as you hop in. Let me go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Nikidra. If you're watching this on replay, stop what you're doing right now, put hashtag replay. Tell me where you are watching from, introduce yourself. I'd love to know who is hopping in. It's Tuesday, and you know how we do this thing called Tip Tuesday. I come to you with ways to teach and train you about how to get and stay healthy. So as you come on in the room, again, say hello. Let me know that you are here. My connection is a little iffy. So just let me know as you come into the room and say hello. It's Tip Tuesday. So of course I have my props. And let me know if this is facing you. Tip Tuesday with Nikidra. I always like to make sure that you all are reading this and not that it's in the mirror image. So come on in as you say hello. Come on in. I am Nikidra Brown, the nurse practitioner who comes to you on Tuesdays with Tip Tuesdays. I do this quick pop in to teach you some ways on how to improve your health. I am coming to you on my lunch break. And so I'm that committed to talk to you about your health that I take time out of my lunch break, busy schedule, to come to you. Thank you for letting me know that we're turned the right way. So our topic for today is you're full of it. If you are hopping in, make sure you are saying hello in the comments. And if you're watching on replay, hashtag replay. You're full of it. We're going to talk about that in great detail. But before we do that, I've already told you the announcements. Hello to those who are tuning in. Welcome to my Tip Tuesday broadcast. I love to hop in on Tuesdays to see how you all are doing. I see Barbara's here. Elizabeth, hello. Mr. Dwayne, Miss Fanny, Miss Cheryl is popping in. Y'all come on in this Tip Tuesday and let's talk about why you are full of it. Let's get our announcements out of the way. This is a learning environment, and so I expect for you all to learn a little bit. Your sharing is your cost of attendance, so please press that share button if you haven't already. Make sure you share this broadcast out so other people can find out why they are full of it too. And interaction. I love the interaction. It makes me excited. So if I ask you questions along the way, make sure you interact in the comments below. This is a no judgment zone, so you can do that. Feel free. And March in review. So this is our last Tuesday in March. Can you believe it? Ronisha's in the house. Hey Ronisha, hey Alicia. This is our last Tuesday in March. And so we have talked about, it's National Nutrition Month. So we talked about nutrition. We talked about coronavirus. Last month we talked about foodies. And this month, today we are talking about why you are full of it. So make sure you are sharing this out. And coming soon, I'm going to tell y'all about my Club 550. Yes, Club 550. I know y'all want to hear all about it, so stay tuned. All right, March is Colon Cancer Awareness Month. Did you know that? March is Colon Cancer Awareness Month. There's so many months for so many different things, but let's talk about colon cancer. That's why we're going to talk about why you are full of it. Do you or anyone you know have or have had colon cancer? Put a yes in the comments if someone you know or even yourself may have had colon cancer. Put a no in the comments if you don't know anybody with colon cancer. We're going to talk about why you are full of it. And that's what it's going to come down to, talking about the colon. Many of you know what the colon is, but you don't know how important it is. So that's going to be our Tip Tuesday on today. Do you or know or have you known someone who's had colon cancer? Put those comments down below. Remember, I love this interaction. Say yes if you know somebody, no if you don't, because we're going to talk about why it's important for you to understand and why you too could be full of it and you just don't know it. All right, so 50,000 deaths per year. It's colon cancer. It's actually the second deadliest cancer per year. So you didn't know colon cancer was quite so deadly, right? So it is the second deadliest cause of colon cancer, of cancer per year. And that's why we have months like this that we increase awareness, how we tell people about the how to maintain, how to detect early, and what the importance is regarding colon cancer. So I see them coming in, people saying, yes, you know somebody who had colon cancer, maybe you or someone that you know. It is the second deadliest cancer per year. That's why we have to make sure we educate and we update people. And as with most cancers, early detection is key. So this month doesn't get as much emphasis as our breast cancer awareness month or our other awareness months, but it's no less important. So this should be the time, if you know some survivors, even yourself, that you share stories, you inform others about early detection, and you be an advocate for colorectal cancer prevention. So when do you get screened? That's why you might be full of it, because you don't know when you should get screened. What age should we start our colon cancer screening? Put an age in the comments if you are hopping on now. Put an age in the comments. When should we start our colon cancer screening? If you are just tuning in, it's Tip Tuesday, and we're talking about why you are full of it. Why you're full of it. Many of you just don't even know that you've been full of it because you haven't gotten your colorectal cancer screenings. It is the second leading cause of death among cancers, and so we're talking about that today. How old should you be when you get your cancer screenings? The reason why you have to get some education and updates is because things change. We find out different things, we learn different things, and so because the recommendations change, because we learn different, we practice different, that's why we have to continuously educate and update people so we can stay in line with our guidelines. All right, so you're going to be surprised because I see some numbers coming in. On average, you want to do once every 5 to 10 years, starting at what age? 45. Once every 5 to 10 years, starting at age 45. If you are high risk, then you might want to do it more often. Let me bring this closer so you can see what high risk is. If you have a family history, if you have inflammatory bowel disease like Crohn's or ulcerative colitis, if you have some inherited syndromes, if you are diabetic. How many of you are diabetic out there? If you are, have you gotten your colonoscopy? Obese people, so if you need to lose weight, add more grains to your diet. If you smoke, if you are not physically active, that's where our Club 50/50 is going to come in. If you drink heavily and if you eat large amounts of red meat, means you need to cut back on your beef and pork. So some of these you can actually change. Some of these you can't really change. But the long and short of it is, see what number you should actually start your screening. So this is a change. It used to be 50. It's 45, right? It's 45. And so because of this, you should also check with your insurance company to see if they are in guidelines with the change. 45 is what we're looking at now for average risk. If you have a high risk, which means you have a family history, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, first degree relatives, that's what we're talking about by family history. You want to make sure you get your colon checked before. So if you are hopping in, hello, it's Tip Tuesday. Your cost for watching Tip Tuesday is to press that share button and share this out on your news feed so other people will know that they are full of it too and why they're actually full of it. Hey Shamika, thanks for tuning in. So colon cancer. Colon cancer can develop over 10 to 15 years before. So before you even start to get symptoms, you actually can have colon cancer, which is why we need detection and we need removal of these precancerous polyps at least every 10 years. It's so very important. Hey Deborah, thanks for tuning in, partner. So it's so important that we get these testings, and because this is a slow developing cancer, sometimes we feel like, oh, it's not a thing that we have to keep a check on, but you should, because those cancers start to develop 10 to 15 years before you actually start having symptoms. So because of that, that's why you don't need to be screened but every 10 years. So you don't have to get screened so often, like once a year, like mammograms. That screening that is actually every 5 to 10 years. But again, Depending upon if they're removing cancers, polyps, or what they're doing, they let you know how often to get screened. So, if you are just hopping in, let me know if you've ever had a colonoscopy. Don't be ashamed. This is a non-judgmental learning environment. Let me know if you ever had a colonoscopy and how old you were when you had it. If you haven't had one, just put no and put how old you are right now, if you don't mind. I know some people are a little finicky about talking about their numbers, but this is a place where we learn what it is we need to do. It is important that you learn what age you need to be getting these screening tests. And so, have you ever had a colonoscopy? If you have had one, let's put what age you got it. If you haven't had one and you don't mind telling us how old you are now, because if you're just tuning in, we found out that you're full of it. You are full of it because you haven't had your colonoscopy. Many of you think you have years before you have to have a colonoscopy, and it's just not true. That's what we're going to be talking about in our next set of props, myths. So there are myths. People think all types of things about colonoscopy. I see some yeses coming in. I love. Miss Fanny's had her colonoscopy. Love it. Barbara did too. And your mom had colon cancer. Thank you for letting us know about that. So it is very important, we talked about as a family history, that you make sure you get your colon cancer screening. And if you have brothers and sisters, you should be telling them as well that they need to be getting their colon cancer screening. So those of you who are rolling in right now, we're talking about, wow, the majority of people are full of it. They're full of it because they're not getting their intestines checked. They're backed up with beef and pork that's causing the bloating in their guts. We talked about some risk factors for colon cancer, how old you should be to get screening, because a lot of you are closer to that age than you actually think, right? A lot of you are closer to that age. As you're hopping in, you got to press that share button, share this out, because your cost for attendance today is sharing. I miss out on my lunch so I can hop in here with you all. So I want to make sure that you get this valuable information. All right, so let's talk about some myths really quickly. Myth number 1, I can't get colon cancer because I'm too young. So that's what people think, right? You think you have forever. It's one of those tests that's such a long ways away. I don't have to think about it right now. Well, you're right. 9 out of 10 instances of colon cancer in the United States happen in people over the age of 50. But as we just said, the American Cancer Society recently changed their guidelines to recommend screening at 45. Why do you think those guidelines changed? Why do you think we have to continuously educate people like you who are watching, educate our family and our friends? Because this is due to the increase in people who actually are being diagnosed at younger ages. That shouldn't surprise you. Everything is being diagnosed at earlier ages. Obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, colon cancer is no different. That's why y'all are so full of it, because you aren't getting your test done. Number 2, many people think that colon cancer happens only in men. Colon cancer happens only in men. A lot of you all associate colon cancer with prostate. 2 different things, people. 2 different things. The prostate is something that a man has and women don't. But a colon, everybody has a colon, right? Everybody has a colon, which means we can all be full of it. So that's where that myth comes in. Colon cancer happens only in men. Not so. Not so. Everybody has a colon. And think about how often you use your colon. Have you used your colon today? Have you used your colon today? I'm sure you have, because you ate or drank something today. So colon cancer can happen only in men. The overall lifetime risk of developing colon cancer for women is about 1 in 24 people, and it's only a little bit less than that in men. It's about 1 in 22 in men. Age is a much bigger risk factor than whether you man or female. So how old you are is actually a greater risk factor than whether you're a man or a female. Again, I think people get that confused because they think of prostate, they think about where you have to go to actually do the colonoscopy, and you tend to think that that's more of a man's thing. But no. Brings us to myth number 3. I don't want anybody in my butt because that's painful. I don't want anybody in my butt because that's painful. I see you, Dwayne from Texas. I appreciate you hopping in. I don't want anybody in my butt because that's painful. And yes, many of us know somebody who's had colon cancer. That's why this month of March, it really doesn't get much attention. Just think about it. Have you heard much of anything about colon cancer this month like we do some of the other months with other important type cancers? All cancers are important. So we have to do our part because we all likely know somebody. It could be us, could be somebody close to us. Barbara's already said that her mom had colon cancer. We have to make sure we do our part by making sure that people are aware colon cancer is not just for men. It can happen at younger ages. We're starting to see it in people that's 40s. And you start to get signs actually 10 to 15 years before you develop any of the cancers. All right? All right, so because you're using your colon every day, you got to get it checked out. And you can't say, oh, I don't want anybody in my butt. That's painful. All right, it's not pleasant. Let's be clear. It is not pleasant. However, it's probably not as bad as you think. And if you get it, it's a chance you won't need one for another 5 to 10 years. So you'll prepare for this procedure. You're going to start eating some soft foods. You can't just keep eating all this stuff y'all eating and load your gut up, right? You got to start decreasing the food that you eat. Go down to some solid foods. Avoid the solid foods. Go to soft foods and then liquids. You're going to clean out your bowels. They're going to give you something to help you go to sleep, help you relax you, release those butt muscles. And then in most cases, you can actually resume your activity in the same or the next day. However, while they're doing the test, they are removing precancerous cells. They're looking for polyps. This is rather to be done sooner or early rather than later. So think about it. Do you want your butt to be a little bit uncomfortable to take out some precancerous colon cells versus treating colon cancer 10, 15 years later? I would think not. I would think you would suffer with just a little bit of unpleasantness, being just a little bit uncomfortable to have this important test done to find these precancerous screenings versus treatment of cancer on the backside. That's why all these educational efforts are so important. Prevention, prevention, prevention is so much better than actually treatment. That's why you people who are full of it, you haven't gotten your colonoscopy, you know you're over 45, you know somebody in your family has it, you know you're overweight, you know you drink, you know you smoke, you haven't gotten your colonoscopy, you're full of it. Full of it. You're all full of it. If you are just tuning in, we are talking about why you are just full of it. Why, if you haven't gotten your colon checked, it is something that is valuable. You use your colon every day. I don't understand how you can use something every day and then when it's time to get it checked, you feel like, oh, I'll wait until next year. Oh, it's not time for me to do it now. If you are just tuning in, we talked about some myths. Colon cancer is not just for a man. Men and women can get colon cancer. We talked about how your age is sometimes more important than your sex as it relates to your colon cancer risk. And we talked about it's not pleasant, but somebody's got to do it. And you are the only one who can get your colon checked. Yes. And Shamika's tuning in and says she's on a clear liquid diet and she is sipping on her colon right now. Or sipping on some broth right now. So prepping, I assume, for this almighty test that we're talking about. So the cost of watching the broadcast is to make sure you share. It's been Tip Tuesday. Let me give you your takeaways. You got to celebrate your colon. You got to celebrate your colon. I already said you use it every day. And the cost of admission to my Tip Tuesday broadcast is that you share this out because it's important information. Dwayne is tuning in. He's a man. He's saying he didn't feel anything. They put him under and it went like so. Hopefully your results were great results, but you get 5 to 10 years. You get 5 to 10 years before you have to do it again. So our takeaways from today: celebrate your colon. Make sure you get it checked so you're not so full of it. Share this broadcast as your admission to Tip Tuesday. If you're 45 and you've not had a colonoscopy, if you put no in the comments, make sure you put that on your to-do list. Lots of times if you're not significantly high risk, if you're not problematic or showing any symptoms, Now, during the pandemic, is probably not the time to get a screening you could have had for the past 5 years. I'm just saying, right? Probably now is not the time where you're going to just be getting a routine screening. Nobody in your family ever has it. Oh, you just 55 and decide, oh, it's time to get my colon checked, right? They're probably going to delay you. So I'm saying put it on your list for May Day. May Day is May the 1st. Go ahead and mark your calendars right now. Many of you are sitting in front of your calendars. Why? Because you are on social isolation and you are home. So mark your calendars. May 1st, I went on everybody's calendar. If you are 45 and over, you need to be scheduling your colonoscopies to make sure you're not full of it. And last, stay tuned for details on Club 50/50. I'm excited about it. I'm going to tell you how you can join me. It's under construction. It's going to be a virtual place where we can all get in, help move our colons, move our bodies, and get stepping in the right direction. All right, if y'all are just tuning in, you got to go watch the replay. And if you're hopping in on replay, press #replay to make sure you let me know that you are here. This has been another episode of Tip Tuesday. I hope y'all learned something. I get super excited seeing y'all on Tuesday. Make sure you say hello because I love seeing you all here on Tip Tuesday. Some of you are repeat guests. I look forward to seeing your smiling faces virtually. And Shamika is saying that her procedure was already scheduled before the pandemic. Okay, absolutely. So we'll see a lot of those that are just routine or just because you need your screenings, maybe getting rescheduled. Don't let that discourage you. Again, put it on your May Day schedule. If you haven't had your colonoscopy and you are 45 and over, never had a colonoscopy, I need that on your May Day schedule. Make sure y'all are sharing this out. And make sure you have a good rest of the day. Make somebody smile. And remember, you don't have to be full of it. You can let that go. Go get your colonoscopy.